Dear brother, welcome to the Dear Brother podcast, y'all. I just was actually I did a morning podcast this morning and I was driving. My daughter got out of school early today and I was driving to pick her up and something came to my mind. And I said, you know what, when I get back to the microphone, I want to make a podcast on it. I want to talk about losing. And you know, losing is big, right? I want to talk about losing and how losing is part of your success. And I also want to talk about what do you have to lose to be great. That's the topic today. What do you have to lose to be great? I think that we live in a world of gain, how much we can get, and you know people around your life, and we see it in celebrity, we see it in politics, we see it everywhere, where it's all about gaining, how much you can get, and in people getting, you see a lot of people lose their mind in what they get because what they get becomes a god to them, right? And that's why I always say that your mind is your slave, not your master. You got to give your mind a thought to think. Otherwise, your mind will just go grab things and you'll lose your purpose in life. Right. So what do I have to lose? It's not about what I gain, but what do I have to lose? Right. And am I strong enough to take a loss? You want to talk about manhood? Talk about losing. Right. So greatness is a part of losing. And understand this, gentlemen, greatness is not free. You ever want to be great at something? It is not free. It's going to cost. It's going to cost you. Now, we can talk about the other things that'll cost you as far as money and things like that. But ultimately, greatness is going to cost you yourself, right? Because this is ultimately the thing. Like with me, I took such bad losses in this life, right? I lost a child. Right. I lost my father by the time I was 27. He was 59. I lost my mother by the time she was 30. By the time she was 60 and I was 32. And all those losses happened so quick. I'm talking about within 5 years. I took all of these losses. Right. I lost a home just 2 years ago. I was sleeping in a car. Right. That's why I wrote this book, Home Where Hurt Men Heal. Go get this book. It's on Amazon right now, gentlemen. Go get this book, Home Where Hurt Men Heal. Right. I wrote this book sitting in a car. Right. And what I found, gentlemen, is even with all these losses, when a loss first hits you, it's like, well, damn, like, what is this? I can't stand this. But the truth is, once you recover from a loss or once you perceive a loss correctly, then you can start seeing through all the ashes of what you lost, what you found in those ashes. What I found now is even though I lost a child, and I wish that it never happened, but I'm able to talk to men now who have been there. I'm able to talk to a man who's lost a $1 million company and find himself by himself and not only relate to him, but help him with the perception of why that happened. Right? There's jewels in loss, gentlemen. Right? I don't want to make this video too long because, again, it was just something that popped in my mind. And when it does, I feel like somebody really needs it. But let's get into it for a second. Number one, I want to say it again. Greatness isn't free. It's built on sacrifice. Greatness is built on sacrifice. Now, you have some people that are become great because of how they used and mistreated other people. You have people that have become great because they stepped on everyone on their way to the top. You have people that are at the top and they have a blood trail and blood still on their feet of all the people they squashed on their way there, which is ultimately not real success. You know why? Because the issue with that is they lost everybody but themselves. You get there at the top and you're by yourself. If you hurt everybody there, you did not win, right? So this is the thing. Number one, I'm going to go over these 5 things right quick that I believe that we all must lose to really, really experience greatness. Number one, you need to lose the need for comfort. I know that sounds crazy. You got to lose the need for comfort because on a climb, it's never comfortable. It's never comfortable. You got to lose the need for comfort. When I was in that, I wrote 6 books and I was able to sit at a desk and somewhere and write these books and play nice music and write. And in my author, built this, I'm an author. So I built this kind of atmosphere for me to write in. Right. But when I'm homeless, sitting in a car, I'm leaning back, writing on my phone. And I believe still this is the best book I've ever written, not because of the words that are in it, because of the experience that drove me writing this book. Again, I'll put it up. Go on Amazon.com, gentlemen, right now. Home, Where Hurt Men Heal. Go get it, right? Go get it, right? Because in my heart, I had to deal with me. I had to deal with me and I had to look around and say, what were all these losses from? I lost a 7-bedroom house, right? And again, the car I was sleeping in was a borrowed car. I didn't have my own car to sleep in. It was a loss. But in the loss, what did I find? The greatest thing I found in losing everything was I finally found me. I remember Mike Tyson said the greatest thing that ever happened to him was losing to Buster Douglas, because after he lost, it was no more pressure to be what everybody else wanted him to be. So number one, you got to lose the need for comfort. It's not to say you'll never be comfortable again, but on your climb to greatness, you must be willing to lose comfort. Number two, you got to let go of unproductive relationships. Relationships in your life that don't lead to anything, whether these are intimate relationships or whether these are just your homies. You got to be willing to sacrifice people in your life who will not help you drive forward the vision that's in you, right? You got to be willing. You got to be willing to let those relationships go, right? They might be fun, they might be great, but everybody can't climb with you. Some people can walk with you, but they'll never be able to climb with you. You got to be willing to accept that in certain situations, there are certain people that have been there for you. And it's sad to say there are certain people that are good or were good for a certain season in your life, but they can't stand the elevation of where you're going. Everybody can't breathe when you get all the way up there, right? Everybody can't breathe when you go all the way down in that water. There are certain people, you got to have certain equipment to breathe down there. You got to have a certain equipment to breathe up there. When you decide in your life to be great, whether you're going deeper or higher, everybody can't stand the altitude or everybody can't stand the depth. Let's keep on moving, right? Number three, you got to be willing to sacrifice the need for immediate gratification. I went through that even on my podcast, right? Because I was a man that was very successful in the front half of my life. Right. I started leading and teaching globally. I started teaching locally when I was 14. I was teaching globally by the time I was 22. I was out there starting campus stuff, speaking on campuses everywhere. Right. That was fast for me. Things happen fast. Things happen great. After I lost everything and I'm rebuilding this podcast in my mind. I wanted this thing to go fast. Right. Because of all the sacrifice I put in before, I'm saying, well, look, this thing will be great right now. But it wasn't. I had to go through what everybody else has to go through on YouTube to build some type of following, to have something worth something, right? And it wasn't that I was being spoiled or cocky or expected things to come my way, right? But in my mind, I had experienced success before. And what I forgot was I had to build from the bottom before, right? But sometimes success will make you forget the bottom. Right? I'm a boxing fan. So sometimes we talk about boxers. Once they get that big fight and get that big check, they start wearing silk pajamas. And what that means is it's not just the silk. Some actually do wear silk pajamas. But what it means is the hardcore running and getting out that bed at 2 or 3 in the morning. It's hard to do that once you're in silk pajamas in a California king, right? And you're in this mansion. It's easy to do it when you're hungry. It's easy to build when you don't have anything. Right. But once you gain it, is that hunger still there? Right. So the need for instant gratification, a lot of times, gentlemen, is why why things don't go right, because we just want without having that sacrifice. We need it fast. The problem is things you get fast, you lose fast. Right. So there's some things you learn in the climb. There's some things you learn in the loss. There's some things you learn in the ups and downs. Right. And what they do, they all strengthen you. Understand that life is not trying to kill you. Life is trying to measure you. Measure you for where you said you wanted to go. Understand this, that greatness is something you said you want. I'm just trying to show you what comes with greatness. Number 4, you got to lose your old identity, right? There's some things that aren't funny anymore, right? I know somebody looking at this like, oh man, that's too serious. No. When you're dead serious about your life, or you come my age, 44, 45, and you're looking at the other side of life and you're saying, you know what? I want legacy before I leave. I don't want them to just put me away and in my obituary, oh, he went to this high school and he graduated from this school and he worked for such and such. No, I want something more than that. I want a legacy. I want something to be said. I want to leave my footprint somewhere in the earth. I want to be like biblical David when he said, I won't die until I serve my generation. And when he left, he sowed so much into the earth that it'll never be forgotten. That's how you want to be. You want to be a man that has legacy. You don't want to die with the only tag on you were your faults. No, you're more than your faults, brother. You have a legacy. So you gotta lose your old identity, right? What that means is you have to evolve. You have to evolve. It's required. It's required. It's required for you to evolve. It's required for you to live past old versions of yourself, old versions of your thinking, right? It's a height. It's a climb. And again, like I talked about on that climb, when you have people connected with you, going with you, you keep climbing and look back and see how many people can stay with you. Anybody, my brother, can walk with you on flat land. Not everybody can climb to the top with you, and you got to be willing to let those people go that have skates on when it's time to climb. Number 5, and this is where we're in, right at our 10-minute point. You got to be willing to shed the fear of failure, right? I sat is a couch over here in this room, and I remember setting all this up, the lighting and everything. I had everything going on, and I sat over in that couch for about 3 weeks looking at this setup. And one day I said, I guess I better get over there and say something, right? I was so fearful, even though I had spoken all my life. I was so fearful to get behind this computer. I don't know why, right? But I was afraid. Maybe I do know why. I got to do some more self-investigation to figure out why. But I had to shed that fear. What was I afraid of? Maybe I was afraid of nobody would ever listen to me. Maybe I was afraid that nobody would value what I'm saying enough to subscribe, right? But I had to shed that fear of failure. You know how I did it? I just got back here and did it. See, I wish I can give you a great philosophy on how to get over fear. The best way to get over fear is to just jump in what you're afraid of, right? What's the point? The point is the road to greatness is littered with failures, bro. The road to greatness is littered with failures, right? But the road to greatness doesn't have to have you laying there on it because you gave up too early, right? The road to greatness is littered with failures. Don't let it be littered with the fact that you quit, right? Walk past the litter of failure and find success. Let me close here, guys. The question is this. Anytime you want to be great, the question you got to ask yourself, and let me quote it right. You have to, this is serious. You got to, this is my closing statement to you. What you need to lose for where you're trying to go. You have to assess, what do I need to lose for where I'm trying to go? Not what I need to go where I'm going. What do I need to lose to go where I'm going? The greatest question you'll ever run into. You want greatness? Assess what you have to lose. Stop thinking about what you want to gain. Now I'm going to say this to you, right? And Jesus was a revolutionary. That's how I see him, a revolutionary. And he started with 70 disciples. When he went deeper into his work, he lost 58 disciples. That's how he got 12. When he went to a place called the Mountain of Transfiguration, where he was going deeper into his work, he only had 3. By the time he got to the cross, he only had 1. And he told that one to walk away. See, greatness requires you, your discipline, your strength, your desire, your passion. Once he got down to 0, he was able to grow to his highest height. Why? Because it's not in what you gain, my brother. It's what you're willing to lose. No fear, no shame, no compromise. Always remember, yesterday is history. Tomorrow's a mystery. All you got is right now, homie. What you gonna do with it? I'll see y'all later. Peace.